Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing wrap with news, views, previews, interviews and special guests. Coming up on the show today, we're looking forward and looking back as well. Beauty Generation back in the big time after a win in the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup last weekend, and looking forward to the Classic Cup this weekend. First four back from the Classic mark, including Francis Lloyd's dynamic duo of More Than This and Golden 60. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Le Jeune. Very pleased to say we're joined by champion jockey Zach Purton and South China Morning Post racing rider Trenton Akers, overlooking the winning post here at Sha Tin Racecourse. Zach, thanks for coming out this morning. Great time of year as well. The anticipation now going into the second leg of the four-year-old series.
Yeah, it's a good time of year. It's when all our horses start to come together. The jigsaw starts to fall into place and become more complete. This weekend is going to give us a better guide on that as well.
And Trenton, it's not just about this weekend of the Derby, just a month away, but this crop of four-year-olds, in theory, there are Group 1 horses for next season and beyond as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You only got to look at what Waikuku did earlier this season as well. He ran second in the Derby last year and came out. So there's always an eye to the future with these horses in there. So that's the interesting part, seeing who comes out of the four-year-old series and performs in open company. And a bittersweet weekend you're coming off, Zach. We're going to have a look at the races in a moment, but Beauty Generation, amazing to see him back winning again, but Exultant, you'd be a bit frustrated with him?
Yeah, he's just a horse that doesn't have a lot of tactical speed. From that gate, it was always going to be a little bit difficult. Having to go back in a slowly run race was just the undoing for him. And, that's racing, unfortunately. All
right, well, let's have a look at it now. Review the two Group 1s from Sha Tin last weekend, the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup and the City Hong Kong Gold Cup with Ed Sadler.
Two-star veterans of the Hong Kong racing scene stole the show on Sunday at Sha Tin as Time Warp and Beauty Generation basked in their Group 1 glory one more time. A seemingly out-of-form Time Warp turned back the clock in the Hong Kong Gold Cup, making all under an inspired Joe Moreira to secure his third victory at the top level.
Exultant still got 5 to make up here on Time Warp, who's kicking Citron Spirit. Exultant and Eagle Way coming Ho-Ho Khan. Time Warp, what a gem of a ride from Moreira. Time Warp takes out the City Hong Kong Gold Cup.
The horse himself tries his best, He's proven to be a very good horse. He has won some of the big races in town, and once again he proved that he's still got it, He's not getting any younger, but when he is able to bring his very best, he can do things what he's done today.
Time Warp's triumph came at the expense of his highly fancied stablemate Exultant, who was beaten as the $1.20 favourite. A possible overseas adventure to Dubai is now off the cards for Exultant, and he will instead stay in Hong Kong to target the QE2 Cup in April, a race that he finished second in last year. Like Time Warp, Beauty Generation's best days of the races may be behind him, but Hong Kong's Master Miler showed that he still has what it takes to win a Group 1 level when taking out the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup.
Beauty Generation in front, the champ's lifting strongly, and he's going to get his third victory in the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup, his third crown, and 8 Group 1s now for the champ, Beauty Generation.
We've got him back on song again, and the racing public out there are, we're going to say our champ is back.
Star Sprinter Beat the Clock produced an uncharacteristically poor performance to finish 5th in the race, the first time ever that he's finished out of the top 4 in his career. 1 week on from the elder stars of Hong Kong racing shining on the track, it will be the next crop of elite performers who will take centre stage this Sunday at Sha Tin, with the running of the second leg of the four-year-old Classic Series, the Hong Kong Classic Cup.
We'll get into four-year-old series in due course, part 2 for the Classic Cup. But Zach, Beauty Generation, that's 8 Group 1s now, $98 million, exactly to the penny in prize money. What were the emotions like? Because, it was a comeback win. Must have been different to maybe some of his other victories?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, last season we were just going out there expecting to win every race, and we come back this season thinking that was going to happen as well, the way he started off. But the first run this season took a lot out of him. He's been a little bit flat since. John was very confident that he had him back in his best form, and he showed that. It wasn't much of a field really. We had a lot of sprinters there trying to stretch themselves out in distance, and Carrying Stars, he's an honest horse, but he's probably not really Group 1 medal, to be honest. In my mind, I expected him to be able to win that race, and he did that. He didn't do it in the dominant fashion that we're used to seeing him do it in, but a win's a win, and it was satisfying. I know the family appreciated the win, as did John, and I think it probably just puts a little bit more of the stardust on the end of his career as well.
Yeah, the punters were onto him though, Trenton, because I thought Beat the Clock in the market was going to run him very close or even run favourite, but Beauty Generation, it was the price of old, 1.6, and Beat the Clock was very easy to back.
It was, wasn't it? They definitely found him, and Beat the Clock, it was his first bad run of his career, really, wasn't it?
First time out of the top three.
Yeah, so that was probably the surprise factor out of it. It was very strange to see him run that way. You just kind of expected him to kind of peel off Beauty Generation and make a race of it, but. Yeah, that was an interesting aspect of the race, I thought.
Did you have mid-race, Zach, any fleeting thoughts, as quickly as they may be, but when Hot King Prawn kicked out and went on and all, he got keen for a couple of strides, you thought, oh, here we go, it's happening again? Or you were always confident that you'd find your rhythm and had their measure?
You've always got to be open-minded in races. We went out there with the plan to lead. We thought we were going to lead. Karras said pre-race he was going to take a sit, but like Karras does, he tends to do things that you don't expect him to do. But his horse showed more speed than my guy. I couldn't get him into rhythm and couldn't get him going, and I had no option but to let those two horses cross me. And Kaying Star, unfortunately, when he crossed me, he just crossed me a little bit short. That's why my guy got a little bit awkward on his heels. But from that point, he relaxed really well. He got on the bit. He was travelling really good. I could feel him building with confidence as the race was going on. And I was really happy with the feel he was giving me. So I allowed him to stride into the straight, which I normally do. And as I was getting to the front, I expected him to put 2 or 3 lengths on him and really kick away, but he got there, and I don't know if he's a little bit more cunning these days. He's a little bit older. He tends to have a little bit more of a relaxed attitude towards things now, and he didn't put them to the sword and put them away like I felt he was going to do, but he knew he had them covered, and like I said, that's all he's got to do.
Were you thinking though in the back of your mind, because you can see Kaying Star, you know where Hot King Prawn is, but you're thinking, where's Beat the Clock? He's going to come at some point, but he never materialised.
Yeah, I expected him to come at some point, you're right, and I was a bit surprised that he didn't come. But I felt like my horse had a little bit more up his sleeve and he was just waiting for something to come at him. He would have found a little bit more, but I'm glad nothing come to put the pressure on him. I'd rather him win like he did than have to fight for it.
Different situation on the weekend as well, Trenton, with the crowds at the moment, no one on course, so you didn't quite get that sense of, this is a Group 1 race and a Group 1 day, but, it's just another feather and, as Zach said, a bit of stardust on a career of one of Hong Kong's very best.
It was a bizarre feeling, wasn't it? Even when they crossed the line in the Gold Cup, you could hear the yelling and the screaming from the jockeys that you don't normally hear as a punter or anyone at the racetrack, so that was a different feeling, but you could still tell something pretty special had happened when Beauty Generation won again, because the owners said openly they didn't know if he was going to win again, and I don't know if you thought he was going to win again or not, but you could tell it meant something to you. You were hugging the horse when he came back in.
Yeah, of course. It was the emotion of well done, boy.
Yeah.
He's not at his best anymore, but he's still able to come out and win a Group 1 race, and it just highlights how good he really is. Yeah.
I know you can't add much to it right now. As we sit here at the moment, no decision about Dubai, but we'll know this weekend whether he goes or not, and what we assume is probably the last season of his career as well. So it either goes or he doesn't, I suppose, but exciting if he does.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a dinner with the owners and discuss that, and weigh it all up. But like you said, it's the end of the road for him. They've said that this is most probably going to be his last season, and that means there's probably only one more run left for him here in Hong Kong. So. It'll be their decision whether they go or not.
All right, we'll find out later on. The Gold Cup, Trenton, exultant, odds-on favourite to win, but Time Warp, what a marvel he is, and what a fantastic ride as well from Joe. It
was a cracker, and he just built the pace there nicely, and made it very hard for Zach on Exultant, didn't it, the favourite? But you don't know what you're going to get with Time Warp. He's rocks or diamonds at the moment, but he produced his best, and it was good to see. It was good to see something different, and even Tony Cruz was surprised. So it was a very interesting race.
Yeah, well, Tony got the 1-2 regardless. Yeah. He still had the wins. I mean, you've had some big days on Time Warp yourself. So when you see him out in front, very hard to evaluate what you're going to get, because you might think, Time Warp's in front, he'll fold. You just don't know. Either he kicks or he doesn't.
Well, the key to him that Glorious Forever was in the race, so there was no one there putting any pressure on him. And unfortunately for me, the two jockeys that were running second and third just sat 2 or 3 lengths back off him and just let him canter. Basically, it wasn't even a mile race. They let him go that slow around the first corner and most of the way down the back straight that he basically only had to sprint home about 1,200 metres. And when you're spotting a horse of his quality, a start like that, it's very hard to peg them back.
Yeah, so he's run, he won it in 2018, last year, and comes out and wins again. So what's the future? They've said no to Dubai for Exultant. So his domestic campaign maps itself, I suppose, QE2 and Champions Chase?
Yeah, pretty much. That's all that's left for him here in Hong Kong this season. There is talk about some races overseas next season, but to run in them, he's going to have to be trained accordingly and programmed towards those races, because they do come up quite early in our season.
Yeah, and that highlights, I suppose, to a certain extent, with the likes of Time Warp, Trenton, what we're talking about with these 4-year-olds, is this is the void they're potentially filling Beauty Generation towards the end of his career, and I assume, Time Warp, time's against him as well to a certain extent.
Yeah, exactly right, and John Sizer said that he doesn't really want Waikuku going towards the 2,000 metres either, so there's an opportunity there, and for some big money races as well. So if you can get a horse that can run the trip and shows a bit of a turn of foot, there's an opportunity to have a good horse for a prolonged period here.
All right, well, there you go. That was the 2 Group 1s from Sha Tin on the weekend. Queen Silver Jubilee Cup, Beauty Generation, and Turn Back Time with Time Warp in the City Hong Kong Gold Cup. We're looking forward next, though. It's the second leg of the 4-year-old series, the Classic Cup, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 are back once more, including Golden 60, the winner, and more than this, both from the Francis Lloyd Stable.